as a multiplication, right? So that means let me just show you. All right. So let me just think of the AND logic as multiplication. Okay, what do I mean by this? Now, what is this? Okay. Logic 1, right? Logic 1, or true lah. Right, let me say true is practically 1, and false is practically 0. This is how Excel looks at true and false, right? The true and false, the Boolean values, Excel sees true as 1, false as 0. So let's look at this, right? Then you will see that we can do a bit of multiplication. So let's say 90, we do an analysis, 90 bigger than 40, so it is true. True means 1, so I can put a 1 here. 80 bigger than 40, which is true, I can put a 1 here. 90 bigger than 40, I can put a 1 here. So 1 times 1 times 1, you will get a 1, which is a true. That's what is happening here. Yeah, let me just clear this. Okay, this is our results here. All right, so let's go to the next one. So 98 bigger than 40, yes, true, 1. 80, yes, true, 1. All right, and then 97, yes, true, 1. So finally, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. This formatting is disturbing us. Okay, clear. Now, if you go for this one, 50 bigger than 40, yes, right, 1. And then 30 bigger than 40, no, 0. 45 bigger than 40, yes, 1. So 1 times 0 times 1 are definitely 0. So that's why you get a false here. In the same, you can see, if I go for here, 39 bigger than 40, no, 0. 0, 0. 0 times 0 times 0, you end up with 0. So here, it's all ones. So this is what I mean. Think of the AND logic as multiplication. All right. So 1, logic 1, false is logic 0. So wherever there is a 0, it will immediately become a 0. So whether there is 1 0 or 2 0 or 3 0, you will always get a 0. So for you to get a true, you'd have to get all 3 must be 1. And this is how the logic AND works. Okay, now, so right. So if I want to combine this logic AND with my logic if to get an answer, so let me just clear this off. Right. So let's say, let me put a status. So I'm going to decide who qualifies, who do not qualify. So I can do something like this. I can write an equation. So let me just copy this. All right, let me write an equation. So equal to if, then inside the if, I put all the n. Right, true means qualified. If not true means not qualified. So now we have combined the if. So you can see immediately the flow shows qualified, not qualified. And the equation, the full equation. So I'm taking this, and this is how the equation looks like. So let me highlight it, put it in green color. All right, okay. All right, for this. Okay, all right. So I hope you are able to get it. This is how we use. So for this, we have to use the AND logic. All right. Why AND logic? Because we want all the marks to satisfy the criteria. Later, you'll look at the OR logic. What's the difference between the AND logic and OR logic? All right. So remember this. Think of the AND logic as multiplication. So whenever there is a 0, it will become a false. So in order to get a true, you must get all must be true. Then only it will work. So this is how we solve this task 2. Okay, not using the AND logic. So please take some time, right? Go through and then write the formula, test it. I'll give you about 2 minutes. Then we'll go to the task number 3. So remember, the formula here is for this. And this formula is here. Anyone have any questions can ask? AND logic combined with if logic. I hope all of you have copied and then traced it out. All right, let's go to the next one. Task 3, yeah? In task 3, find students who have failed in at least one subject. Passing mark is 40. So now the question is whether the person have failed at least one subject. All right. Just now, what's the difference between task 2? Task 2 says that all subject must be passed. So now here it says must fail at least one subject. So when you see here the word at least, then you know that you have to use the or logic. At least means then we have to find out. All right, let's put our passing mark here. Okay, this is our passing marks. And we want to find out all the subjects that the person has failed. So let's go and do a bit of conditional formatting. We find out all those 40 marks and below. So find students who have failed in at least one subject. So that means these are the students we have to find. So in our status here, we're going to write there, right? What do you call? Okay, in this case, we'll put a yes, right? So we'll put a yes here, yes here, yes, yes. Okay, that is what we are going to do. So now we have to use our OR logic. So OR logic, or OR function. The OR function, similar to our AND, the syntax is same, only thing it is now OR. So let me just increase this. So let's do an OR logic. So we will do a test. Our passing mark is 40. 40, isn't it? 40. Okay, let's go and do a test. So equal or, right? So this now fail. We are looking for fail. So we cannot put bigger than equal. So we put smaller 40, right? So 80 smaller 40. Don't forget to press your F4, comma 90 smaller than 40. Close parenthesis, enter. So it gives us a false. So if I were to double click, sorry, drag, so you can see true, wherever the marks are highlighted, it is true, true, true. So the formula, let's take out the formula. All right, let me put it at the bottom here. Formula text. So this is the OR logic. Okay, so now I told you when you are looking at the AND logic, think of the AND logic as multiplication. Now OR logic, you have to think of it as addition. Okay, now, all right. So let me put a small note here. Think of OR logic as addition. Okay, now, all right. Think of OR logic as addition. So what do I mean by that? So let's look at this. Let's look at our marks here. So we go and check our marks. So we are testing, yeah. Let's see, we are testing it less than. So same thing, like logic 1 is true, logic 0 is false. So we test 90 less than 40, of course not, false, 0. 80 less than, what do you call 40? Of course not, 0. All right, 90 less than 40, of course not, 0. So that means 0 plus 0 plus 0, you end up with a 0. Right? That's why we have a false here. Same goes here. 98 smaller than 40, yes, 0. Right? 80 less than 40, no, 0. 97 less than 40, no, 0. So the 0 plus 0 plus 0, you get a 0. Let's go for this. 50 less than 40, no, 0. 30 less than 40, yes, logic 1. 45 less than 40, no, 0. So 0 plus 1 plus 0, you get a 1. That's why I say think of all logic as addition. So whenever there is a 1, you will end up with a 1. So if you go for here, right, 39 less than 40, yes, 1. 69 less than 40, no, 0. 33 less than 40, yes, 1. 1 plus 0 plus 1 is not equal to 2, but in terms of logic, it is equal to 1. Okay, now, so as long as you have a 1 in the sequence, you'll always end up with a 1 at the result. So that's why you see here, right? So if you look at here, let's look at all the false. Let's look at all the true. So you can see, all right, through here, through here, through here, through. So because there is a fail. So the question says find students who have failed in at least one subject. That's what we have done. So they have failed in at least one subject. This person failed in one subject, this person failed in 2, this person failed in 2, here 1. So if they failed in 3, okay, let's say I put a 0 here, still it is a true. So that's how it works. So now we can combine our equation to get our status. So let's say I have a status here. So I'm going to put a yes or no. Right, so I'm going to copy this. Control C, escape. So equal if, right, we will bring in our OR logic. Then we put a yes if it is true, no if it is not. That's what we're doing. All right, so you can see very clearly. Oops, sorry. So all the yes and all the no. So let me take out the formula for you. I'm going to put it down here. So equal formula text. Okay. So let me just color it green. Okay, all right. So this one is for your this. So please look at the formulas carefully. All right. So let me just mark it for you. So this formula here, right, is this one. And this formula here, this no here is this one down here. Okay, please try it. All right. Learn how to use the OR logic. So like I said, think of the AND logic as multiplication. So if you all know, when we multiply, if you have 0 enough, everything becomes 0. So for OR, we use addition. So you have a 1, everything becomes a 1. That's how it works. Joanne, I hope you understand.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. So I give you a few minutes for you to test it and complete it, then we'll go to the next one. So you have gone through the if logic, or logic, and and logic. You can explore the others. They have this not logic and XOR logic also. All right, you can explore that. But if or and is the most what you call commonly used, right? And then wonder, can we use or and logic at this? It depends on the problems, Joanne. All right. So sometimes yes, we can use or and together. So you may need another or to combine them together, nesting them together. So for example, if you want to okay, so you may end up something like this. You have and inside here you have another n, right? And then maybe you have another or here, something like that. So you may end up doing this type of equations, or like I said, hold on, let me. Or you may end up with something like this. Or. All right. So you may end up, this is how we combine the or and n. You have to use an n or another or to combine the n and or. Okay, right? That's how we do it. But then the problem must be really complex for you to do this. And this is how we combine the n and o together. You have to use another n or another o. You can anyway, you can always experiment it. Thanks for the question. Right. Okay, right. I hope all of you have got it. All right. So let me move on to the next one. Next one, we are going to look at, anyway, we have finished all our functions, all right? These are all the functions that we have chosen for you. So we have finished all the functions. The next few topics are going to be tables, data tables, and pivot tables. There are three things you're going to learn. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this. And then we close it. And you have actually, what I've done is I have got one exercise for you to try since you have gone through all these. So if you look at what you call file 500 timesheet, I want you all to try this exercise. Let me explain how the exercise works. So this is a timesheet of one person for 1 month. So these guys start working on 1/5 and all the way down to 31st. So we want to do some salary calculation. So now this person earns 18 ringgit per hour, normal rate. Normal rate means normal rate. So this is Monday to Friday. Okay, so Monday to Friday, the rate per hour is 18 ringgit. Now Saturday, he gets 36 ringgit. Right? So Saturday, he gets 36 ringgit. And then we don't pay this person during the lunch break, or we don't pay, right? We only pay for the working hour. So you need to calculate the working hour. And then using these values, using your if logic, do a selection so that for Monday to Friday, the calculation will be based on 18 ringgit, but for Saturday, it will be 36. And Sunday, of course, the person don't work. Okay, all right? So whatever value you put, it will still get 0. Okay. That's how the exercise is. So I give you about 4 minutes for you to try the exercise. And then let's see if we can, what do you call that? Get the solution. Okay, everybody please try. File 500, all right, please try that. So just give me a minute. So remember, the first step is to calculate the total hours, and we already did this in our time, date, and time. Then after that, calculate the rate. Right? Okay, anyone able to get answer? Answer meaning what's the total salary? What do you all get at the end here? The grand total here. What do you guess? Okay, let's see how to do. I will give you two solutions, right? Two ways to solve this. Right, the calculation of the rate. All right, the first one is we find the hours. So hours shouldn't be a problem. So we just equal open parenthesis, lunch out minus start time, close parenthesis, plus open parenthesis, and work minus lunch in. All right, close, and make sure you multiply by 24 for you to get the hours. So you should end up with something like this, and we double click. So as far as the formula is concerned, so let me show you the formula up here. Okay, so right, this is the formula. Now let me just color this red color, this one also red color. So the formula you get, so which means we are only interested in the hours that person have worked. So we are just paying for that. No lunch hour, we are not paying. All right, now the question is, how do we write an if logic to choose between the 18 and 36 based on our days? So somebody have given an answer. 3628.08. All right, okay. Anyway, we will see whether the answer is correct or not. All right. So now we need to. So I'm going to show you two ways how to do this. All right. One is you can use your how shall I say, your tax here. So we can test this data, see whether it is equivalent to Saturday, right? So I can write an equation something like this: equal if, right? So I take this data here, then I put equal sign, and in double quote I put Saturday. I just spell out the Saturday. If it is equal to Saturday, then we take this value and multiply by 36. If not, we take this value. Now make sure you use your F4 and fix that B3 right? Okay. If not, we take the same value, multiply by 18. All right, and then let's fix that. Use the F4, close parenthesis, enter. And then we double click. All right, and then we get the total answer, which is 3628.08. So what do you call, Lachin is correct. Okay, so this is, let me just put it. Okay, so let's look at the formula. All right, we are interested in the formula. So I wonder how, Lachin, maybe you want to post your formula, see how you did it. Did you follow my method? Or did you follow any other method? Okay, let me just put this. So this is the formula we are following, yeah, all right? Okay, so because this is one of the methods, so let's just color these, I don't know, give it a red, green color. Okay, so we have got, now see, we are testing what? We are testing these days, right? We are testing to see whether it's a Saturday. If it is a Saturday, means you multiply by 36. If not, means you multiply by 18. So you can check, you can do an analysis here and check the answer. You can see from here, you can do a simple calculation randomly and then you check it here. This is one method. One method meaning one way to solve. Okay, now whenever we refer to text, it's a bit dangerous. Sometimes text can have spelling mistakes and so on. So you want to have a more robust answer, robust solution, then we can refer to our date. Now remember our weekday, we can use that technique to check whether it is a Saturday. All right, so that means, let me just do it here. All right, so I can also have this technique. So equal if weekday, right? I'm checking the date. And remember, our weekday means Sunday is 1, Saturday is 7. All right, so we check whether this is 7. If it is yes, then the same thing. We take this, multiply by 36, F4. All right, if not, we take the same thing, multiply by 18, F4. So this is another way of doing it. So you see the answer will be the same. Okay, all right. So down here we do a auto sum. You get the same answer. So, but then the formula, look at the formula. So let me take out the formula for you. So this formula uses the weekday technique. So basically we are checking, remember weekday, yeah, we did in our date time. So if the weekday is Saturday, this must give us a 7. So if this gives us a 7, that means you multiply by 36. If not, you multiply by 18. All right, so two ways of solving this problem. So everybody please try it and see, all right, see whether you can get the answer. Anyway, thank you to Lachin for successfully getting the correct answer. Anyway, Lachin, which way you did it? I'm just curious. Do you want to paste your if logic? I want to see. Or did you do any other method? Hello, Lachin, are you there? You're too shy to share your solution. Anyway, thanks, Joanne. Your solution is correct. That is for your total work hours, isn't it? Yes, correct. F6 minus C6. Yeah, sorry. Huh? F6 minus C6. Oh, okay. F6 to F6 minus. Oh, I see. Okay. Do we need to freeze column B? No. Column B, you must let it run. You must let it run. Cannot freeze column B. Column B is your data. Data, you must let it run. Don't freeze column B if you not necessary. You just leave it as B6, right? So if you want to see all the formulas, let's go up here. Okay, right. So if you want to see the formula, look at the formulas. So the column B, it will keep running B6, B7, B8, B9, B10, B11, and so on and so forth. Right? So column B, don't freeze. Do not freeze column B. Do not freeze G6. Do not freeze G6 also because you have frozen your G. Not necessary. I'm not saying it is not wrong. It's not wrong. It's but not necessary. That's what I'm saying. All right? Not necessary. Okay, all right, Joanne. All right. So we can leave as B6, B5, sorry, B6, G6, G6. The one we need to freeze is all the B3 and B2. That's all we need to freeze. Okay, all right. Okay, good. All right. So I mean, you can see that there are so many ways of solving problem in Excel, right? And you still will be able to get a right answer. Okay, good. So everyone able to do this? We will go to the next one. All right. So let's save this. We go to data table. Right. So go to folder number 700, data table. Right. So if we can create our own data table, right? Excel has two types of data table. One is a single variable data table. The other one is a two variable data table. Right. So single variable. So now before we can do our data table, we need to set up our calculation correctly. So let's look at this. This is a scenario where we are selling books. We have in stock total 500 books. And we want to sell 50% to the highest price. That means the other lowest price will be another 50%, right? Okay. So first we set up this first. Right? So we decide, because we want to create a data table to see if I sell 60% to the highest price, what will be my total profit? If I sell 65% to the highest price, what's the total profit? If I sell 100%, that means all 500 I sell for highest price, what's the total profit? So I want to do some kind of a table. This is what we call a data table. Or I may want to see if I sell highest price, the number of books, 100 books for the highest price, what's the total profit? All right. So highest priced book, number of books. So highest unit price. So if I want to change, so I can play with all my variables. So what are the variables? Number of books, unit prices, and your percentage. So I have set up this. Then I set up here highest price 250. Now this 250 came from where? This came from here. So I need to link that. So I do a trace precedent, means you see I need to link it. So that means I take my 50% multiplied by 500. Then this 250 came from there. Then I link it. I link it to this. I take 500 minus off the 250. 250 or what? This one. So step by step, I need to link everything. And then the unit price, of course, I decide on the unit price. All right. So I put 50 here. This is the highest price. This is the lowest price. Then profit, I need to link it. So I have done my linking. All right. Profit is 250 multiplied by 50. Right. Sorry. How much I sold. In this case, we just looking at what do you call, how much we sold. We are not what do you call, minusing of the cost price and things like that, right? To make it life simple. So here, again, it's all linked. And finally here, it's all linked. So you can see everything is linked together. So the link must be there. All your calculation must have linked to all the values. The only thing that is not linked is this 50 and 20. 50 and 20, we just entered manually. Okay, now everything else, and then this 550% we entered manually. This, right, and this value all are calculated. All these are calculated. All these are calculated. Okay, all right. So let me just highlight that just to show. So these are calculated. These are all calculated. So these are manually entered. So you can see all are linked together. So now I want to create a data table. I want to see, all right. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to change this percentage. I want this percentage to start from 60% all the way to 100, and I want to see how the profit, this value changes. Okay, now so how I set up the table, first I need to, this one I manually keyed in, input these values manually, but this one is connected to this. So let me, so see, so I just put equal to D10. So we must connect this to the our profit here. Look at my formula, right? Equal to D10. You can check in your own this thing. So now we are ready. We need to highlight, go to data tab, go to your what if analysis, look for data table. Right, you click on it, a dialog box will open. So it'll ask you row input, cell column. In this case here, it's column input. What is the column input? This one. So click here, select this. That's all you need to do, right? Why I choose this one? Because I'm seeing for this value for the changes, what is the profit? And that's why I'm choosing that. So now I put OK. So automatically Excel will do the calculation. If you click on any one of the value, you will see at the top there it is inside curly braces. All right, okay, curly bracket. It's inside braces. Like why? Because this is an array formula. So you cannot go and adjust this formula in the middle. So it will give you some kind of warning message. So it's an array formula. All right. So this is how. Let me show one more time. And you cannot undo also. You can't undo. So you need to clear format. Sorry, clear content. Let me go back. Clear content. So you see how I did. Highlight all. Go to data tab. What if data table and column? Because we are looking at this. Click on this value. All right. So you get your variable profit values based on the percentage of what do you call the number. So 60%, 65, 70. This one, remember, this one manually entered. So I wrote your side here, manually entered. Then only you can come out of this, come out of the editing mode. Because we are not doing array formula here. Array formula is another topic that is for really advanced students. So we don't want to test that. We just want to make sure the formula appears. That's all, right? So if you have done anything, do not. Okay, the first rule is do not go and modify this. If you want to change, you have to change everything. So that means you have to go clear content and redo. Don't go and delete one, delete two. Right? And highlight. Let me go back to my data tab. What if data? Click on my D5 and okay. All right, so you get your answer for that. Okay, so next two table we are going to do. So we're going to change variable highest price number of books. So now I'm trying to see if I were to change this value from 100 to 500, how is the profit? And this one is highest unit price. So I'm trying to see whether if I can change this value, okay, all right, the what do you call it, unit price value, how will the profit will be changing? So you can try. So try these two. I hope you understand how to get this single variable table. So if you understand me, you should be able to do this. Try these two tables. Complete the table, then I'll give you the answer. Okay, let's do this. All right, so for this one, highest price number of books, highest price. Now look at this. This is the highest price. That means what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to change this. I'm trying to vary this value. Right. So this is B8. Right. So let's go and highlight this. What if analysis data sheet, and in our column input cell, we're going to click on our B8. All right. So okay. So get your answer. And you can see our 250 is here. Right, let me just highlight it. So this is our initial value. Our default, we get 17500. So it's correct. Right. So we get 17500. Try this one, highest unit price. So highest unit price means we are trying to change this value here, right, which is C8. So we are trying to change this 50. We are trying to play with this value. So we are trying to say 20 to all the way 60. So the 50, the answer we must get is 17500. That is our initial value. So if you don't do it correctly, then you will get some weird answers. All right. So try this one. So our column input cell will be your C1, C8. Why should every table include? Okay, now remember, this is the link to your main setup. All right, this is not manually done. Right? So if I click here, right, it's all linked. So if you look at the formula here, it is equal to D10. So this is what which links your whole table to your main setup. So you don't have that Excel won't know what are the setup, what are the formulas for. That's why you should think with me. Right? I hope you understand. So if I click here, right, this link to the main setup here. So that is important, very important. This is the main link between your table and your setup. Right? So you can see I just put equal to D. So if you take this off and do, right, let's see, you do something like this. So it may or may not give you the correct, Reza. You see, definitely giving you ringgit minus 50, just repeating the values. So Excel now confused already. What we are supposed to get here is total profit. So here you must equal to and then after that you will go back to my highlight. Remember this is right. Go back to my data tab. What if click on this. Right. This is link. So if you do not put that, then it will not work. Your table will not work. So I hope you understand. Right. So you can see all of them linked to the main setup. So Excel knows what formulas to refer to. So Excel will see this, then go back to the setup here, then you will see your C8 and then go back to that value and then analyze this. And then finally give you the answer. Okay, all right. So this is our single variable setup. So this table, final table, basically we just copy paste. All right. So the one is just a final summary, or you can use it. We call paste link. Okay. So this is a single variable table where we change one variable. We can also do a two variable change. Okay. Sorry, Adira. All right. So, Adira, you have any questions? Please ask. All right. If you think I'm fast, did I miss out anything? Okay. In the data table, what does the row input cell and column input cell mean? Okay. The row input, now we are doing only column input cell. Column input cell means this value that you see here. All right. Now, first of all, you see the setup of the table. The table has been set up in the column format. I can always set it up in the row format. Okay, so that means I take this 100 to 500 and then put it at the top, and then I put this. But normally, when we do single input, we do a column setup, right? So column setup here. So let me go back to this. Just 1 minute. You see this? What we are trying to analyze. First of all, you must understand what we are trying to analyze. What are we trying to analyze? Highest price number of books. So that means this value, the changing value, actually refers to this. So we are trying to analyze the sales total based on this value which is changing. Changing from what? From 100 to 500. So, and then what we want to find out, what we want to project, we want to project the profit or gross sales here. So in this column, since it is in column form, here I must let Excel know where is this changing value coming from. That means from here, which is from your what do you call B8. That's what I'm trying to tell Excel, that B8 contains the value of this changing value. So Excel will go and see B8 and then change it. So what it'll do, it'll put 100, calculate and see, okay, what do you get? You'll get 13,000. Then it'll put 150, calculate the whole table, get 14,000. Put 200, that's what it does. Okay, now, all right. So we will come to row input in a while. For the moment, understand the column input. Column input always refers to the variable, the location of the variable. So where is it located? It is located here. Okay, Tinghuini. So for example, here, right, let me just go and clear this. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to analyze highest unit price. That means I'm trying to analyze this value now. I want to see if this value changes, what will be the profit looks like? What is the projected profit will look like? So that means I'm starting from 20 all the way to 60. I'm changing that. So where is this located? This is located in C8. So when I do my analysis, right, go to data tab. What if this column input, right, column input must be equivalent to this value. Then okay. Then you see the calculate. Okay, now, all right. That's how the whole thing works. So we have. So what I'm doing is we have these as a variable. All right. Let me just go. So let me just highlight that. So we have one variable. We are also working with this variable. We are also working with this variable. Okay, all right. So these are the three variables. Of course, we have another two more variable. You can create another two more table. You may want to find out the projected what do you call sales if your lowest price changes. So right. So if you want to do that, okay, let's go and set up a table. Right. We set up a table here. Okay. So now I want to see lowest unit price. Okay. And then I also want to see the total profit. So lowest unit price, I want the unit price to change. I mean this one. Maybe I will start with I don't know 5, then 10. All right. So let's 5, 10. Let's go all the way down to until 45. Right. And then this I need to connect it to my main table. So equal. Go and click on this. So I connect it to my table. So now I need to find. I highlight. Go to my tab. And my column will post on this. Okay. So you can see what is happening. Right. I just got my answer. So this is 20 here. This is our initial setup. All right. 20 is our initial setup. So initial setup 20 will give you 17,500. All right. If I go lower, it gives me 13. If I go upper, it gives me 23. So I hope you get the concept right. Right? Single table, single variable input. And I just created one for you. Okay. Now, all right. Lowest price. We are analyzing the lowest price. If it starts from 5 and goes all the way to 45, what happens to my profit? If let's say after I do this, I do my changes here. Let's say I put 3. All right. Can you see it? All right. It will update these all these values here. So let's say let me put here 50. This is like a normal formula already. It just updates. Only thing is they are array formula. You cannot go and change or modify. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Single input table. Okay. Anyway, I give you time for you all to try it. So Adira, I hope you have understood. I just repeated the whole thing. All right. Try it. I just give you a minute. Then we'll go to the 2 variable table. Meanwhile, if you have further questions, you can ask. Right, total sales is here, right? These two multiply. So here is these two multiply. So they are all connected. And then finally, what is your total profit? Okay, of course, you take your total sales and minus your cost, all right? So you can see all of these, the one I put square, the border there, all are connected to each other, related to each other. And this is the main relationship, our last one. So what we want to analyze, we want to analyze for variable cost and for variable variable price per unit and variable cost, how does that affect our profit? That's what we are trying to analyze. So that means what? This value here refers to our cost. So which manually entered, we entered manually. So we just go increasing 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So we change this 12 ringgit from 8 ringgit to 16 ringgit. So it varies. And then price per unit, we try to see what is the best price for us. So we increase the price from 25 to 35. So we try to see what is the best price. Okay, now, so this is the price. So now for us to do a two variable, and you see where this is located, this has to be located at the junction here. This is equivalent to this value here. Okay, now, all right, the connection, this is the connection to the whole setup here. So now I highlight, go to my data table. Now, which one is row input, which one is column input? Now, row input will be this. So what is this? This is equivalent to, right? So what is this? C12. Okay, now your column input, so whatever inside here, this will be equal to your cost. So here, then you put OK, you get your projected answer. So you can see from here which is the best price combination. 1921227. So this is the highest, I think. So of course your lowest cost and your highest price. So of course, like this is standard economics kind of minimum input, maximum output. That's what it's you're getting. So one more time, all right? One more time, let me go through this, right, for you to get an idea. So let me go to home, clear content. So remember, we are doing two variable now. So two values are changing. What are the two values? Our cost is changing from what? From 8 to 16. And then our price per unit is changing from 25 to 35. So two variable. This is a two variable in what we call table. And then we have done our setup so that all are connected to each other. And finally, we bring that value here and highlight. Okay, and then you go to your data tab. What if data table? So where is your row input? Always row input will be this. Whatever you see here, the variable here. Column input will be here. Whatever you see here. So the row input is actually equal to our price per unit, and our column input will be equal to our, where is that? Cost. And then you put OK. Right? So this is how it should be. So this is a two input table. This one was single or one input table. This one is two input table. So maximum we can do two input, right? So remember, all these answers all depends on your setup here. How you set up your main table and your final value you are trying to analyze. What are you trying to analyze? So these are your top values, lah, right? You're getting. Okay, I hope all of you have got it. All right. Single input table and a double input table, right? Okay. So basically you can understand, see, what do you call that? This is used for projections, all right? You can project values. All right, let's save this. Okay, and then let's go and close this. Let's go into pivot table. Our next one is pivot table. So double click your pivot table folder, which is folder number 800. And then go into your introduction 010. And then you have a table. So I open your 011. I'll explain the table, everything inside here. Okay, now so let's open this. This is actually a set of data for you. 010 creating pivot table. So this is a set of data that is what is this? Herbal teas or sales of herbal teas. Now, before we can do any kind of a pivot table, you must understand. All right, so let me write it here. All data must be normalized. Okay, so what does that mean? That means each column must contain one type of data only. All right. Okay, that's what it means. So, and remember this, I explained to you the type. There are 4 types of data in Excel. You have the text, you have the number, you have the date time, and you have the error, of course. Not. So in this case here, we have the month, we have the product, we have the state, we have the sales. So you can't have mix up, right? Right? You can't have everything inside. Like for example, you may have the header state 1, state 2, state 3. Cannot. You can't have something like that. You must have all of these in a normalized manner. This is what we call normalized. Okay. And then second rule, we call good practice. Okay. Convert data. Sorry, not data. Range to table. This is another thing. All right. You need to understand this. You must convert your range to table. Okay, this is what we call a range. We actually don't call this table yet. It's called a range. All right, let me just. All right, this range you must convert it to tables. How do you convert to table? You use Control T. This is the shortcut. All right, Control T. T stands for table. Then you convert to pivot table. So this is a good practice. Of course, you do not need to convert to table. Sometimes you want to directly work with it, can. But you will need to do extra work in terms of refreshing the data and so on. So later I'll show it to you. Okay, first thing, all data must be normalized. Each column must contain one type of data only, like this. So all our data has been normalized. And no merged column, right? You can't have all these merged column or multiple column, all that stuff don't have, should not have. What do I call merged row, merged cell, all cannot. It has to be separate. Everything must be separate. So let's do this. Now, before we convert anything to a table, all right? So remember, this is a range. Okay. Now, everybody, Control T. So click inside your data, your range, anywhere. Press Control, press T. If you do it correctly, you will get a dialog box. create table dialog box and make sure my table as headers is checked. If you do not do that, so then what will happen is, okay, you just watch. Let me uncheck this and I put okay. Can you see at the top there? You get column 1, column 2, column 3. The flow will not read your header. Okay, so Control T, make sure it is selected. And normally Excel will automatically select all your data as long as you don't have an empty row or empty column. If you have an empty row, then Excel will split the data into 2. Okay. Then you put OK. So you put OK, the headers will be converted into your headers, and then you will have these filter buttons, we call it. And then what will happen is you will have a design tab. Okay, now, right? So this is a table now. In Excel, this is what we call a table. And the design tab, you can format your table. All right, you can format your table. Let's say, for example, here you can format it. Then you can have these buttons here, filter button. You want to hide the filter button, you can hide. All right, first column, last column, banded rows, banded column. Right, all you can do. Do not do anything manually once you convert to table. A lot of people don't know how to use this table, so they go and manually go and do all kind of changes. So you shouldn't do that. You must follow this. And the most important that we are looking for is this: summarize with pivot table. All right, we can convert the table back into pivot table. Now, before we convert to pivot table, you must understand something. Okay, pivot table. Table is used to, what do we use pivot table? To filter, to sort, and to summarize. Summarize what? All these are filter, sort, summarize data. Whatever you have here, this is the use of pivot table. All right. So that means you must know what you're looking for. That means question is, what is your aim? What are you analyzing? Okay. So in this case here, so let me give you an example of what we can analyze here. Then we will do the pivot table accordingly. So now here I have my month, product, and state. And product is herbal teas. I'm seeing this table, the sales of herbal tea, then this is the total sales. So for month of January, Shining Seas, California sold 880. So I can ask a few questions. What questions can I ask? Let me just put some color here. All right, I can ask a few questions here. Okay, now the question is, maybe I can ask like which month? Which month the sales was the highest? I can ask one question. Then I can also ask which product sold the highest? And I can ask which state performed, okay, which state performed the best, right? The best performing state. I can also ask, in the month of March, which product sold the highest? Or in the state of what? Oregon, which product is popular? So I can come up with this type of questions. First, you need to come up with this type of questions first. All right, before you do your pivot table, because pivot table basically will do filter, sort, summarize. So you must know what you are looking for. If you do not know what you're looking for, then there's no point doing pivot table. All right, basically analyzing. What are you analyzing? So what we are going to do now, we are going to create 5 pivot tables to answer these 5 questions. All right, that's what we are going to do. Now, before we go ahead, all right, so one thing you need to always do. All right, so let me put here. Always save your work. Number one, every PVT, pivot table, will make a copy of your data. Remember that. So every pivot table we create will make a copy of the data. That means if you make 3 pivot tables, you'll end up with 4 copies of data, your original copy 1 and then 3 more. What I'm trying to tell you is this is going to increase your file size, it's going to tax your memory, it's going to test your CPU, right? So in order to do that, in order to avoid any crash, you always save your work. Every time you do something, save your work, because the more pivot table you have, the more high likely it will crash your Excel. Keep that in mind. All right, so now let's go and answer this question. Which month the sales was highest? So what we do, we select our data, which we already converted to table already. So we go to our design tab, summarize with pivot table. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click here. And remember, we want the month and the sales. So sales is here, the month is here. All right, let's go and click our summarize with pivot table. And you will have a dialog box which will open. The dialog box will ask you where you want your pivot table. And also, you see, all right, we can switch. You see here, the Excel gives you, it gives your table a name, table 2. Remember our naming range technique, Excel follows the naming range. So every time you create, convert a range into a table, it will give you a table name. So table 2, because we have already created one earlier and then I undo it. So you may get table 1. So depending on whether you have done it before or not, right? So now we click summarize. So the will say, select a table. So range table 2. Okay, this is the advantage of converting it into a table. All right, so Excel knows table 2. And then new worksheet, existing worksheet. So we will do new worksheet first. Later we will combine 2 pivot tables. The last 2 questions we will combine it. Right, so here we leave it as new worksheet and then we put OK. The moment you put OK, Excel will create a new worksheet. It will create a report area and it will create a fields area. Now the good practice is we name our sheet PVT1 because we are going to create 5 pivot tables. So better keep track. So please name it PVT1. And then what you do first thing is go and save. All right. So the first question we are going to answer is which month the sales was the highest.